What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Melanin Militant. This is episode 15. This will be the season finale for season 1 of the show. This is pretty much going to be a recap. I'm going to rehash and reiterate some of the more essential ideas and important messages from some of the more important episodes that I've done throughout this first season. As always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and share these videos at the end. Speaking of subscribers, I'm almost at 100. I'm at about 96 or 95, something like that. I think that deserves a round of applause. Real quick, a little humble brag. I'm pretty happy about that. Pretty proud about that. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who stuck with me through this first season of me doing these videos, encouraging me, supporting me. Even the simple stuff like liking my posts, resharing my posts on social media, it means a lot to me. Showing the love and support even when I kind of doubted myself. I really appreciate all of you, and make sure to stick around at the end because, as I previously stated, I'm going to put a little contest together where 2 winners will be selected, and each of them will earn a $25 Visa gift card. So make sure you stick around at the end, and I'm going to explain the rules to that contest. Now today I'm not wearing any black-owned apparel, but I did want to give a shout out to Melanin Rich Men for their hair pomade and beard oil. What I'm using right now. Just got my hair cut, so I thought that was a little appropriate. So, great brand. The products are amazing. The beard oil keeps my beard looking dark and full. The pomade keeps my hair laid real flat. It keeps the waves deep. It keeps the connections full. Very affordable. A great brand. I put the link to their website in the description below, so make sure you check them out. Now that I got all that out of the way, now let's get into it. So episode 1 was Give Black, Bank Black, and Buy Black. These are the 3 pillars that are essential to bettering the Black community, empowering the people that look like us, that know our struggle. And recently I've kind of gotten a little bit of flack from this, a little bit of pushback from white people. I'm not too surprised. But for me promoting buying from Black-owned brands, I put on Facebook that I bought the Melanin Rich Men products, and it came to me while I was in a store about to buy another brand, and I said that, I realized that these aren't Black-owned brands, so I'm not going to buy these. I'm going to go home and order these online. And just the idea that it is somehow a knock against white people, or I don't know, me refusing to buy from white-owned brands. Well, to that I say, which I've already said before, but this episode is all about reiterating ideas. I'll say it again. It's pro-us, not anti-them. So you should be donating to Black organizations like ACLU, Campaign Zero, Black Lives Matter, donating to Black politicians because we need to be putting ourselves in those places, in those positions of power. You need to be buying from Black-owned brands because, again, I've said before, Black people have an estimated $1.2 to $1.9 trillion of spending power, but we often do not spend that enough in our own community. Episode 4, something else I've gotten a lot of flack for. Can Black people be racist? No. Now I will give a real answer. I'll get into it again like I did in the original episode. But my basic belief is that it's not enough just to be prejudiced based on race. It's systemic. Another thing that white people have gotten on me for, and texted me, hit my inbox for on social media. According to them, I seem to dislike or blame all white people, or even the funny way that I spell white people on social media seems to be offensive. But to that I say, okay, fine. That might, my subtle jokes might be maybe a little offensive, and maybe it might hurt some white people's feelings, but they don't perpetuate an idea that ends up getting Black people, that gets white people killed in the streets while they're unarmed by police. And it doesn't end up perpetuating an idea that makes white people get incarcerated at a disproportionate rate. So, I mean, if you want to say that I'm racist just because I say that I choose to consciously spend my money with Black people as much as I can, or if I take every chance I can to call out racism, then fine, I'll wear that badge. I really don't care. You can call me racist. It really won't bother me none. But this is a question I pose to those people and anybody that still thinks that is me being, or Black people in general being racist when we are buying from Black-owned companies, and we're a little bit defensive when it comes to white people. You know, is that really racism, or is that just our acknowledgement and understanding of the power of white supremacy? That's the simple way I look at it. I know the power of white supremacy. I know that it is real. I know that it exists. And I know that our country is rooted in racism and was built on racism. So if I seem maybe a little bit defensive, or I jump on every opportunity to call out racism on behalf of white people, then fine. Again, I'll wear that badge. But in my opinion, in my estimation, black people cannot be racist because, again, it's systemic. We do not control any of these systems that are ran in this country that then disproportionately affect and oppress other people of different races. Episode 5 was work woke. So to sum up this episode pretty quick, it's pretty much us just putting our money where our mouth is. You know, we can complain all day long until we're blue in the face about the problems that are prevalent in the black community. Not enough job opportunities, education is subpar when it comes to other communities. And that's all true. Obviously, I'm not denying that, but there are things that are essential that you could be doing as a black person that could be bettering your lives and bettering us all as a whole. Back to episode 1, that's giving black, banking black, and buying black. That's reading important literature. That's attending rallies and protests in town halls, campaigning for black politicians that you want to see elected into office. Because we need to start seeing more black politicians in office. That way, the people creating policy that look like, the people that are creating policies that affect us will look like us, instead of them looking like the descendants of our historical oppressors. Now, recently, Daniel Caesar came under flack for his comments that he made on Instagram Live about black people just being mean to white people, and just complaining, and that white people are the winning culture. And I might receive a little bit of flack for this as well, but he's not entirely wrong when you think about the essence of what he was saying. Now, the way he said it, yeah, he shouldn't have gone about it that way. He shouldn't have been drunk on Instagram Live. That's not the proper arena or setting for him to have had that conversation and to try to delve deep and get in depth about that particular topic. But at the core of what he's saying, it's that not enough of us are doing the essential things that will better ourselves and lift us out of the situations and predicaments that we're in. Too many of us are complaining and blaming the white man when they're not even the ones that are banking black, buying black, and giving black, or keeping up on things that are going on in their neighborhood. They might not be knowing who is getting elected into office and that are creating those policies that end up causing or end up being a detriment to them when it comes to taxes or healthcare or job opportunities. So when you're not actually invested personally in doing things that will better you as a black person in America, then you can't really complain too much. Like, we could sit and complain that this is going on, this is going wrong, this happens to us, this happens to us, but we know the problems and we know the solutions. Somebody that I follow very closely on social media is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and he always says that now we can sit and complain that we lost the game, or we can go watch the tape and figure out how that team got so good. You know what I mean? So there are things that are out there, again, like banking black, buying black, and giving black, that'll help black people, but we all have to be doing it. So you can't call yourself woke or conscious if you're not following that code or doing those things that'll help you as a black person and that'll help black people as a whole. You have to put in the work as well, because like I said in the original video, it's not enough to just say, oh, stay woke. Episode 6, thank God for Donald Trump. Now, I'm gonna keep this one real short and sweet. This was America being exposed for still being rooted in racism. His entire campaign was fear-mongering and displays of xenophobia. He tapped into the deep-seated racism that's rooted into this country. And to me, this was a wake-up call to do anything that I could to combat white supremacy. And black people should look at this as a call to action. It should, Donald Trump's presidency should have made you start working woke. It should have made you start buying black and banking black. It should have made you realize that you got to get up off your ass and stop complaining about stuff. You can complain until you're blue in the face, but it doesn't really matter if you're not doing anything about it. So don't look at Donald Trump as, as like the world is coming to an end, the sky is falling. This should have been the thing that inspired you to do something. And we've kind of seen that throughout the country. There's been a lot of just everyday folks running for office now because it needs to be the people who have experienced what it's like to just be a regular old citizen in America. It needs to be those people in those positions because they know exactly what the people are going through, not somebody like Donald Trump who cannot relate to anybody like us, especially a black person. He cannot relate to anybody in this country. So having regular old everyday folk in office is essential, and we need to realize that Donald Trump is merely a symptom of a disease called white supremacy. Now, episode 7, the deterioration of the black consciousness, was probably my favorite episode that I've done because it's the core of everything that I talk about. I see the current state that black people are in the country. I see the way we glorify certain behaviors like boot gang, where he's just going around into local businesses, small businesses, just doing the stupidest stuff just to get a million views on Twitter or on Instagram or YouTube. We made people famous like the Catch Me Outside girl, and we glorify things that are in no way beneficial to us, and all we do is perpetuate these ideas about us that then causes white people to think that we are nothing but our bodies, and like we are like we're less than. It makes them feel superior when we do these things. We reinforce those ideas in their mind. So we need to stop caring that Tristan Thompson cheated on Chloe. You know what I mean? When all of Flint, Michigan doesn't all still have clean water. When Stephon Clark's murderers won't be charged in his death. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Kardashians shouldn't be the gold standard for black people, and it shouldn't be the prevalent topic in our community. Now, one mistake that I did make in this episode was where I kept saying gangster rap, where I didn't really mean gangster rap, because when I think gangster rap, I think Tupac, NWA, Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, and then today you can look at somebody maybe like YG, where that's not really what I meant. I really meant more the trap music SoundCloud rapper era that we in. It's like there's like a cookie cutter mold for rappers now: face tat, stupid hairdo, and a name that really makes no sense. So all they do is glorify this behavior and make it seem like it's cool, and then you got 10, 11-year-olds watching the videos on YouTube and seeing the things that they do on Instagram, like a Tekashi 6ix9ine or a Lil Pump, just again doing the dumbest stuff they can possibly think of, just so somebody will retweet it or just so somebody will watch it, and it does nothing for the youth. So we got to stop making stupid people famous, and let's lift up the Dr. Boyce Watkins of the world, the Michael Eric Dysons of the world, D.L. Hughley's, the Angela Rye's, the Amanda Seals. These are some of the most articulate, intelligent people who are doing the everyday work for black people and speaking on our behalf. And there's not the same amount of praise for those people as there are, again, for the Kardashians or Tekashi 6ix9ine or the Catch Me Outside girl. So let's stop putting so much stock and time into people like that. Another correction: in episode 8, The Real Threat in America, I said that in December of 2018, a black girl was killed when her car with her family was shot into by a white man, but it was actually done by 2 black men. When the news had first broke, I did that video, I believe, like the day after. So the report and all the news that was out, even the sketches that were out that were drawn based off the description by her family, her sisters who survived in the car, were of a white man. So the news was fresh as soon as I had made that video. So it was not a white person who had actually killed that girl back in December of 2018. It ended up being 2 black men. I believe they thought that it was a rival gang member, which is why they shot into the car. So that's one correction that I did want to make. But to just drive home the essential and main idea of that episode is that the main threat and the real threat in America has been for a long time and will be for maybe forever, will be white people. More often than not, it's them carrying out these acts of violence, and more specifically, extreme right-wingers. Just recently, we saw the shooting in Christchurch, New Zealand, where I believe 50 people were shot and 50 others were dead or were killed. And that was done by what's believed to be an extreme right-winger. So, and that's not even America, but you can see the influences of extreme right-wingedness, if that's even a word, and how far it can travel. Episode 9, Hotline Bling, put down the phone, white people. Now, this might be the stuff that gets white people to text me and hit me up and say that I blame all white people or I hate all white people. But, I mean, nothing that I said in this episode was not factual. Plain and simple. So, the main idea of this one, white people, stop doing it. It's dangerous, it's stupid, and it's racist. The end. Episode 12, Mansa Musa, the richest man who ever lived, and episode 13, Black Wall Street, what they didn't teach you in school. Now, as I said in those original episodes, it's important to teach Black history. It's important to teach our children this. I'm saying our children like I have kids, but I don't. But you know what I mean. It's important to teach Black children about the history of America, things that have happened, things that have occurred, because Black history is American history, and Black history really is world history. We were on this earth as kings and queens long before colonial Europeans were. So we need to teach our youth and teach ourselves this history, because I didn't know about Black Wall Street up until a couple years ago. I didn't know about Mansa Musa until maybe about 1 year ago. So it's important to keep these stories live. Make sure we keep passing them down. Make sure these stories never die and get covered up. And something more recently that I just found out about, the Atlanta child murders. There's a 3-part docuseries on the Investigation Discoveries channel, created by Will Packer. He's known for things like the movie Girls Trip. I believe he did Think Like a Man with Steve Harvey. And he's done like Kevin Hart's Ride Along 1 and 2. But this is his 3-part docuseries that just came out, and pretty much the story goes, and from 1979 to 1981, 30 Black children went missing and then were found dead, and they never found out who it was that were committing the murders. And the only reason it stopped is because in 1981, a man was arrested for the killing of 2 adults, and once that man was arrested, the killing of the Black children stopped. So the Atlanta police pretty much just said, well, it coincides with that. There has to be the correlation. He's probably the one that committed all of these murders, but more likely than not, it wasn't actually him. So there's a man sitting in prison to this day for over 30 murders that he really actually didn't commit. And those Black families never felt vindicated, never felt like they got justice, and they feel like the Black life of their child, sister, brother, nephew, cousin, whatever, didn't matter, because the actual subject who's responsible for all those murders was never brought to justice. So that's just another example of Black history that's not really told too often. Didn't know about it until I heard about the docuseries coming out a couple days ago. So with Black Wall Street and Mansa Musa, those are the stories that we need to be telling the children, we need to be telling ourselves, and that we need to make sure never get swept under the rug, because Black people are a lot more than what we just see on TV today. So that's it as far as a recap and making corrections made. I'm sure there's something else I'm gonna think of later on once I'm done this, but those for sure are the core things that I wanted to touch on, because they're the core of everything that I talk about, everything that I do this for. Now, when I come back with the next season, I promise that things are, I'm gonna have topics that are a little more relevant and in real time about what's going on in the world and in the culture, things like that. Try to challenge myself even a little bit more, because if you only stick to what you know and what makes you comfortable, that's when you run into confirmation bias. As far as the contest, now it's very simple. All you have to do is like this video, be a subscriber to my channel, and leave a comment under this video. So I'll choose a winner within the following weeks once I've seen that a lot of people have commented and started to subscribe, and the views have gone up on the video. I'll know that people are watching and commenting and things like that. And again, I'll randomly select a winner, and 2 winners will be drawn to receive a $25 Visa gift card. Hope you guys keep coming back to the channel. Please stay tuned until next season starts rolling around, and be on the lookout for more of my spoken word videos. I hope you guys enjoyed that first one that I dropped as well. There'll be more of that coming. And thank you again for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.